Hey everyone, I'm Keisha Charmaine and I'm back. And today I'm here with Bernadette. Hi, Bernadette. Could you introduce yourself and let us know where you're from?
Yeah, hi Keisha. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Bernadette Cosby, and I am from Virginia, but I'm currently in Maryland. I'm a military spouse. And so I do a bunch of stuff. And so I'm so happy to be here on your show to have a conversation. Let's talk about this beautiful black hair of ours.
Yes, please. I see your locks are styled in the updo. How long have you had
Yeah,
your locks?
yeah. So I've been locking now for about 15 years.
Nice.
Yeah. So I haven't gained the length that you have or had because I know you cut it. So I haven't gotten that long, but I'm about mid back. Yeah.
Okay.
hmm
So, what inspired you to start your lock journey?
So my hair story was like typical of typical tragic, right? It was just always getting perms. I had really thin hair. And there was nothing that beauty salons could do that was really helping my hair grow, right? Especially in a healthy way. And I could never get it any shorter, so I was always or any longer. So I was always cutting it because I couldn't do nothing with it. And for me, it was a Mother's Day weekend, and I went to get my hair done, and I showed her this style, and I was all excited for it at this beauty salon, and she ruined my hair. When I tell you, Keisha ruined my hair, she ruined my hair, and I was bawling in the beauty shop because it was my first Mother's Day. I really wanted to be nice, right? And so it was at that moment where I decided, you know what, I'm doing this. I had I had tiptoed around it for several years. Asked the crew, like, hey y'all, I'm thinking about getting locks. What do you think? Of course, they was like, you can look crazy, you stupid, don't do it, right? And I listened, but that's what kicked me off on my journey.
Wow. I'm
Yeah.
sorry that you experienced that. That sounds really traumatic. Yeah.
Yeah. It was. It was. It was.
But it spearheaded a beautiful, healthy hair journey. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah. I mean, had it not been for that, I wouldn't have walked on into it, right? I think sometimes difficult moments catapult us into what we're supposed to be in anyway, our destiny, right? Into those points, if we allow it. And for me, even though we're talking about hair, which somebody may see as simplistic, it's still something that these hair decisions mold our lives. So, especially in our culture. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So when you were first locking your hair, so you're going through the early stages,
hmm
how did you manage mentally? Because that's
Well,
a aspect we don't always talk about. We talk about
yeah,
maintenance. We
right.
don't really talk about the mental as much.
Right. And that's kind of how I found you, right? So it was in the stages where Bronze Goddess was doing her thing. You remember her?
Yes,
Jessica
yes.
Lee, when she was doing her thing. And so I was really following them because I didn't know what to do. And we call it, or some folks call it the ugly phase, right? And so I was in wigs because I just could not see myself out here with these little teeny baby locks. I just had a problem with it and I wasn't secure in who I was. And so I wore a lot of wigs. And then as I started to get length, I was following some of those people. And then they started branching out into their own thing. And it was just like, bro, I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? And I was already watching you for hair tutorials and, just chit chatting about different things that you had going on. So I was like, well, I guess Keisha about to be my go-to. So, and that's how that happened, right? So I would just pull you up and find out YouTube videos and tutorials and put a spin on it and make it work for me and all those sorts of things. And so having those types of resources, I think, is important. Like sometimes you don't know where it's gonna turn into when you start these YouTube channels. You're just like, nobody's gonna watch it. I'm just doing this. But there are people out there that need it. I wouldn't have been able to gain my hair confidence. I wouldn't have been able to be more secure in where I am had I not had those resources from y'all. So I'm so grateful y'all decided to do that and that you stuck with it. So thank you. Yes,
I
ma'am.
appreciate you saying that. But some
Yeah,
of the names you mentioned, they were definitely my support system as well. When I was starting
yeah.
out, like Bronze Goddess, now she's doing like dating coaching now. Cheska Lee, she cut her locks. She's doing a lot of different stuff
Mhm.
now.
Mhm.
But yeah, back in those days, yeah, I wonder how they're doing now. But
Right,
yeah,
right,
because
right.
most of them just stopped posting. But
Yeah,
we all have our own past, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes. So how do you maintain your locks these days?
So I'm not a twister often. I don't retwist my hair every month or every 2 weeks. It's not me. So what I do, and I have 4 children, and so my family, it was like 5 of us at a time that were locked up. So I was doing locks and lock maintenance, and I found myself doing it more for them than me. So for them, it was regular routine, like every month, I'm retwisting, using your stuff, especially when you came out, because at first I was doing the store brands, right? The few that we have in the store.
Yeah.
And they were working, but not a lot of growth, not a lot of my hair was still dry, their hair was dry, you know what I mean? And so as when you came on the scene, I was like, oh, I'm getting this today, like no question. And so I started using your stuff. I started using some of the dry herbs before the rose water came out. I started using some of the dry herbs and putting that on the stove and putting that in a bottle. And
Nice.
just, yeah, just doing some of those routines, and so just really making sure that the hair was moisturized. And then when you came out with the horsetail, oh my goodness, I started noticing like my kid's hair just took off, right, with the growth. I was using like cactus oil before online, and it worked, but it didn't, it had a unfavorable smell, I'm sure you know. But it was nothing like what your product did. And so I've been using it because every time we use it, and not just for me, but even my husband with his low cut Caesar, he's using it, right? And so it's something that my whole family can take advantage of. So that's basically our lock maintenance routine. I watch them, I retwist them, but mostly I'm using your product. So yeah.
Oh, well, I'm so glad that
Yeah.
everybody in the family. That's awesome.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Yeah.
of course, my products are they generally geared to people with locks, but hair is hair. Natural hair is
Mhm,
natural hair. So regardless if you have locks or if you have loose afros or even if your hair is relaxed, like it's gonna help you. It's gonna help your
mhm.
scalp. So I'm
Yeah,
glad it helps everybody.
yeah, for sure. Need some more lock and gel, and we need some more quartz tail because the last time I bought an order, he was all out. So I was like, Lord have mercy.
Yeah, that's a bestseller. People love that one.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
thinking stocked for myself
yeah.
too.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, it works. So I'm be encouraged. I love what you do, and I'm rocking with you till the wheels fall off, girl.
Thank you so much. My heart feels
You're
so full.
welcome.
Is it colored or is that your natural hair?
Yes. Nope. So I got a little brown, got a little blonde in here, got a few different colors.
Did you do it yourself
Um,
or do you go
I
to a salon?
do. I do my own hair for the most part. I go to a salon when I have like if I'm splurging on myself or something like that. But usually I'm doing it on my own. Um, so yeah. Yeah.
I miss color, but it was just too much for me. I had to stop. I had to take a step back and just stick to black now. So how long have you been coloring it? You said you've been locked for 15 years. How long have you been coloring it?
Oh my goodness. Keisha, it's been but probably, let me see if it's been 15 years at a minimum 10.
Okay.
Yeah, my colors now, when I get colors, usually professionally done. Every now and then I'll do it on my own. But for
Okay.
the most part, I go get that professionally done. Yeah.
Okay. That's the safest bet.
Yeah.
When I was coloring my hair, I always did it myself. I grabbed some boxes, from
Right, right,
from
right,
CVS or whatever.
right.
But that's it's not the
Yeah.
safest bet. I've been doing my hair since I was like 10 years old, 12 years old.
Wow.
So I trusted my ability to do it, even
Right.
though when my hair was relaxed, though, I do remember I colored my hair one time and it broke really badly. But
Mhm.
other than that one time, I was okay coloring it myself.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I don't think I was in high school when that
Oh,
happened.
wow. Wow. Not high school. That's the worst.
Actually, I was in I was in between 8th grade and ninth
Okay,
grade.
okay, okay,
I was
okay.
going into high school. It was
Okay. Okay.
I
So at
was
least
very
you was
I was
able.
devastated though.
I bet you were, and you was able to
Yeah.
get it resolved before going into high school, because high schoolers don't play.
I mean, I got a haircut. My hair was
Yeah.
like maybe here prior,
Mhm.
and then the color damaged it. Then I cut it like up to here. So it was
Mm.
cute. It was cute, but
Right.
I
Right.
loved my length. I was one of those. Low key still am. I love long hair, whether it's
Yeah.
natural
Yeah.
or what or not. Like that's just my thing.
Right. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
Yes. So how do you feel about the current state of Black hair? Like, I noticed that more and more women are going natural and rocking locks these days, but a lot of us are still addicted to the relaxers and the wigs and weaves. I recently put out a video about the dangers of these relaxers, and they have these lawsuits out now,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll see what's going to come of that in time. But like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, what are your thoughts on the state of Black hair?
Yeah. I think that it's a think it depends on what part of the culture you're on, right? Because there's some of us that really embrace the black hair, right? And I've gone to some of the events with the black hair culture events, and some of those things, and you're able to be in almost a museum experiencing black hair and see the timeline of our journey, right? But then, like you said, there seems to be a bigger trend going with the lace fronts and the type, and really being able to get the edges so that they so slick that you can't even tell. And even coming over in the lock space, at first I had a problem with it, and I'm gonna just put a pin in that. But even coming over here with the faux locks and things like that, and so I think for us, especially with the chemicals, I would love to, which I that's probably something I need to research to understand where did this come from? Like who developed these chemicals for us in the first place? That felt like it was a good idea for us to put this chemical product that was made in a factory or chemical lab or whatever, and to put it in our hair that causes so much burning, that causes so much damage, just for us to be like, okay, I look good now. You know what I mean? Like, it's it's not think that when we learn how to well, when we become comfortable in embracing who we are and understanding that a perm is not necessary, a relaxer is not necessary in order for you to be able to pull out the best part of you, I think that'll help us as Black women to get a little bit further along. You know what I mean? I can say a lot of people that I know that do relax, they have a lot of respect for folks that go natural. They really do. Because they understand that it takes work. People just be like, yeah, I'm going natural and you don't have to do no work. No, baby. No, no. It don't
Yeah.
work like that, you know? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know Madam C.J. Walker, she really wasn't the
Mm,
inventor of these
right,
relaxers.
right.
She had some like innovations that made them really popular. But I do believe that the intention back then was for assimilation, because of how society was. I don't think
Agreed.
that Black women necessarily just thought it was just the better thing to do for their hair. But I do think that in time it kind of became that, because it was just like customary at that point. Like
Mm,
people, oh, you just know, okay, when you turn a certain age, okay, just relax it. It's easier than, hot combing it every Sunday.
mhm.
But yeah, so I realize it's just going to be a gradual process. The more and more of us who proudly and boldly wear our hair naturally and with our locks, more and more of the girls coming up, they're going to see that, and they're going to admire that, and they're going to want that, as opposed to when they only see representation of Black women with straight blonde hair. They're not going to aspire towards that necessarily when they see more and more of us. So I think we just have to stay tuned and, just watch how like the generations come. But yeah, I do what I do to help to make sure that, these girls, and not just the girls, but, my peers, like, that we see that, there's not just one way to do this. We can be beautiful in our own natural hair. We can be beautiful in our locks. So that's why I'll continue to be on this platform, even though it's been a long time. I've been on here for a while.
Yes, you have. But we
But I'm gonna
need,
keep it up. Yeah,
I'm
thank
sorry.
you.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
need people like you, right? We need the foot soldiers. And to your point, it is generational. Like, it's because this is what we've done, this is how we've always done, and this is how we do it. So you find yourself passing it along to your niece. You find yourself passing it on to your daughter, right?
yeah,
My daughter, she is 15. And so, well, she's about to be 15 this year. And so I was, she had natural hair at first and twists and braids, all of those things. But when she was around 9, I just converted her two-strand twists into locks. And so when she became older, I gave her a choice, even in her teenage years, like, hey, you don't have to wear your hair locked if this isn't what you want to do. Because yes, I made the decision for you as a young child, but you're of age now, right, to be able to say. And she's like, no, I don't want to get rid of my locks. What would I do without my locks? I love my locks, right? And I think the more that we empower our daughters, the more we empower our nieces, our goddaughters, and we put that in them, be like, baby, look, there's a different way, like you said. I think that helps. Not that we're saying there's anything wrong with folks that relax or that wear the lace fronts. Please don't get that twisted. That's not what we're saying at all. But what I will say is that I think with people like you and others of us that are marching to the beat of this drum, of this natural drum, we're exposing it more. And people are always, and I'm sure you get it too, they're like, oh, you can wear your hair like that? Oh, I didn't know you could style your hair. It's so versatile, Keisha. There's so many ways and they're so surprised. And that creates inspiration to just want to cross over. So yeah, I think we stay in the game and we see how we watch the changes.
yes. I'll definitely stay tuned to see the progress. And I love that you
Yeah,
said that you gave your daughter the opportunity to decide if she wanted to keep up with the journey.
yeah.
I people often ask me about my opinion. I don't have any kids, but I have an
Hmm.
opinion. People often
Hmm.
ask me, how do I feel about locking children's hair? I usually say wait till they're at an age where they're not rolling
Hmm.
around in carpets
Hmm.
anymore, so that
Hmm.
they're not getting their
Right.
hair dirty. It can be hard to maintain. But once they're at an age where they're not rolling around anymore, I'll say to lock it up. But then when they get to another age, like a teenage age is appropriate, I think. Ask them if they want to stick through it, because at that point, they have their own preferences and established. So and I think that they have the right to decide certain things that they do with their body at that point. So I do appreciate you giving your daughter that opportunity, and I'm glad that she wants to stay locked. Stay
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yes. So thank you so much for joining me in this conversation. I had a really good time talking to you, Bernadette. I appreciate you.
Yeah,
I,
thank you so much for the invite.
yes, I would like to give you the opportunity to promote anything that you have going on.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Yeah, so I'm a marriage consultant. And so people be able to find me on Instagram at the Bernadette Cosby. But I help marriage couples that have experienced infidelity and they want to stay, right? That's an empty space. It's a quiet space that we don't necessarily talk about. But due to folks asking, even folks that are just married and never experienced infidelity, they're just like, hey, I need help. So I do have some of those programs available too for any married couple that just need help. I also have a podcast, the Forever 31 podcast. And on the pod, I just talk about whatever I want to talk about. So if we're talking about life, we're talking about life. If we're talking about career or women's empowerment, all of those things, I have that. And then I have a brand, I have a fashion brand, Rarity, and folks can look that up at brandedrare.com. And I specialize in giving fashionable chic clothing to curvy girls because there is a challenge with us being cute in that space. So I went into that space for that purpose. I'm all about women empowerment, beauty empowerment, all of those things. So I'm so excited for the opportunity to be here today, Keisha. This was really good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I will make sure that I have all your links down in the description so everybody can know how to find you if they want your marriage counseling services, they want to see the podcast or shop for the clothing. Thanks again for being a customer of mine of Shopping for Love, Light, and Locks. And thank you for being a viewer all these years on YouTube.